with this. This is
Well, I said to the worm, if that's all you got, there's got to be some silk somewhere that I'm not seeing, you know.
Well, then the guy said, I've never seen a tumbleweed before, and I just did this, and he got it instantly.
Oh, it's like that. Yeah, that's horrible. Wow. You're all over the
place. These things just have a mind of their own and just kind of float through like old Western movies. Yes, they do.
They do.
How are you, man?
I'm good. Morning.
Bill. Morning, Bill. Yeah, we skipped our normal intro. We're just like shooting from the hip today.
We are. It's a Wednesday, right? So we're just kind of midweeking it.
You have school today.
I do have school today.
Man, like
feels weird.
After last week, the idea of you being out today is making me nervous.
You're probably buddy. Yes. Well, yeah, a little bit. But actually, I'm in a pretty good spot, so I'm not too worried about it. Honestly,
that's good. That's huge.
Yeah, I mean, we got everything caught up. Oh man, I got a tool I got to share with you.
We're working on really?
Yesterday and yes, yeah, I can't wait to share. It's old technology, just all kind of hooked together to do something new, and I'm loving it. It's
I love nothing. I love nothing more than getting stuck into a black hole of a thing I don't really need, but can't wait to research. So yeah, just go ahead and send that my way so I can miss some more deadlines. That'd be great.
I'll enable you. And good morning, Levi.
Good morning, Levi.
Yeah, James is the same. He will tell you. He often on Polo with the leadership team will be like, just paid for another tool I don't need. Can't wait to show you.
Like, I love Noah Kagan so much, but that dude has made me spend so much money on tech that like I'm never ever going to use, and so I wonder how much of like his like I like cheap tech is much more of like I want to give you tech you're never going to use again, but I'm gonna make it really cheap so that way at least you know what you don't want.
Yeah, well, it's almost like he had a personal obsession and decided I'm going to find ways to get this stuff cheap for myself, and then exactly. This is a great business model.
It's funny because like Noah talks about niching differently than most other people who I talk about. They're like pick an industry, but he's like, there's still people playing in these like industries. But he was like, if you can take two things and combine them together, he goes, look, I'm really cheap. I don't want to spend money on stuff, dude. It's worth $10 million, and it's just like one of the most frugal people I've like ever met. We were on a bike ride, and we're in a gas station, and he gives the guy his card, and the card goes through, and he goes, oh, that worked, huh? And I was like, what? Oh, what? And he goes, he looks at me and shrugs, and he's like, you know how tech works, and just walks out. And I was like, when I asked that question, it's because I don't have any money in the account. It's not because I'm concerned about the tech. I'm like, what a weird like shift.
Totally different place he is.
Yes.
Yep.
So yeah. So you have school today.
I do. I actually woke up early and took care of the few things I really needed to handle.
Oh, I did not wake up early today. Didn't go on my walk. But I did do my journaling today, and holy crap, today's daily Stoic. I actually wrote in my journaling this morning that this book paid for itself today.
Okay.
Like there's been good stuff. When you're trying to fill a year's worth of days with like ideas and stuff, not every day is going to be a home run.
Sure.
But man, February 24th, the real source of harm is holy crap. Blew my mind this morning. Like,
so I'll see some commentary in the Discord channel later about that one.
Yes, and on every social media platform, because like I took a picture of it. I was like, man, like this is so powerful. And what's so fascinating to me is like there's such like a sales lesson in here. It's talking about how nothing is ever absolutely good or bad. It's only just by your relationship to it, right? The example that it talks about in here is that if you're a billionaire and you lose $1 million, that's sometimes just looked at as like the cost of doing business. But
Elon Musk.
Yeah, but if I lose $1 million, I'm bankrupt and everything else, right? So the only difference between those two views is where you're sitting and how you're looking at it. And the thing that he talks about in here, and you and I talk about this all the time, of like opting in, right? The more that you opt in, the more meaningful it is, right? Yeah. So when you are when you're looking at situations and you're saying, oh, this sucks for me, and why does it always happen to me? Like, you're opting into that being like top of mind, right? And then it's a little bit easier next time. It's a little bit easier next time, right? You can get used to anything. So if you're constantly getting used to like saying like, woe is me, this is my, or, you know, like this stuff always happens to me, you're just building that muscle to make it easier and easier and easier. But the very, the thing in here goes, so why not choose now to not apply these labels? Why not choose not to react? And I'm like, oh, I love it because it's so simple, but it's going to be the hardest thing that I work on for the rest of my life.
It's the simple ones that are the most, you know, life-changing topics, really, in general, the stupid, simple ones. And, you know, honestly, some of the stuff that I do when it comes to like creating frameworks for marketing stuff for people, I have literally quite recently was told that some of the things that I was discussing with a pretty high-powered executive were childish, and that they were below him, and that I needed to go back and do some more work in my field before we had a conversation again.
And is that post? Is that what happened in that conversation?
I'm not sure which post, actually. I don't think I posted about this one.
Okay.
No, because I didn't want to put this guy on blast, just because he seems a little nasty. So I didn't want to give him the opportunity to go.
How do you feel about that, though? How do you feel about that, though, whenever he tells you that?
Well, I mean, at first I was like, you know, like I was ready to fight. But like I immediately took that, and I think I did what the entry today said, is I went, that's sad for him that he feels this way about this information, because it is so good. This is such good stuff, right?
Ray Davila is back, ladies and gentlemen. Ray has been doing a social media fast for a hot minute now. I think the plan was originally just to do January, and then super nice dude, he sent me a text and he's like, hey man, I've been having a social media fast. Super nice compliment. I've not missed much, but I'd like to catch up with you. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And then, you know, life got in the way and we've not reconnected yet. But man, Ray, good morning. Super glad to see you.
Good morning, Ray. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
So I was mad, and then I went, that's sad for him, because I know this stuff's really good because other people are working with it and it's working really well for them. So, I mean, maybe it's not the right fit, you know?
And the really interesting thing, right, is you have to deal with that all the time in sales conversations, right? You know, these people, because I agree with almost everything you said, except for taking that moment to be like, oh, this is sad for him. You know, like it for me, like when I hit those walls where like I'm talking to someone about something that I do, and they're like, no, I just don't need that. Like, I don't have that moment of, oh, that's sad for you. I just have that moment of like,
right,
not today. Okay, totally fine. You know,
exactly. Well, and if I was selling something that I didn't necessarily wasn't like super psyched about, I would probably be somewhere like, oh, okay, not the right fit, not a big deal. I just happen to be passionate about the stuff too.
That's the thing that's getting you in trouble.
Good,
right? So check this out, right? Okay, so you can be really excited about your sales conversations and really invested in them emotionally because you need them to close. The other thing that happens, right? The other people who get this label are the people who are passionate about it, right? Because your urgency of wanting to fix the problem is going to be so much higher than their urgency of like even really being able to turn and face the problem sometimes, right? So the urgency is always going to be the issue, right? Whether it's I need to close some deals because I needed some revenue, or because I'm just so excited about this problem that I can fix over here. So like, let's just do this thing. Like, just shut up and like give me the money and I can fix this thing. Yeah. It still comes across the same way to your prospect.
Well, one of the reasons I need frameworks is because I often am delivering like the training of this information, right? Which is why I'm passionate about it, because I deliver it and watch people absorb it, and it changes things and things like that. So I'm really passionate, but I'm also the salesperson. So I have to create like a conversation, a template, something I can follow, because that's how I work. I do really well inside of frameworks that helps me remove that from my conversation. Keep the enthusiasm, but don't rely on the fact that if this doesn't happen, then my day is horrible, you know, or I have to get them to close because they need this. It's like you often say, it's a matter of uncovering where they're at so that you can ask proper follow-up questions.
Yes.
And that's hard. That's really tough because when you're the person that delivers the information and you're passionate about it, and then you have to go the next hour and go sell it and remove and step back, it is so hard. It is so super hard.
It is hard, right? It's very hard because there are times where like I'll leave sales lab or like I'll leave a one-to-one call, and then I'll be on a prospecting call, and I'm just like I'm whipped up to like a lather almost, because I'm like we've been going at it and everything, and then it's. When you're a kid and you run on the like horizontal conveyor belts at the airport and you're booking and you get to like the ground again and you just yeah, that's what it feels like in those moments. But
yes,
that's why intention is important, right? Like taking that time, having that gap, and okay, what is this call about? Where are they in the process? What are we covering? All of that stuff is so important, and it's so easy to like just assume that you got it.
Yep.
No big deal. Gonna be fine. I'm gonna be great in the moment, and then you get in there and you start missing parts of your process, right? You start skipping things, or you come in there like a hot wind, and they're looking for like a nice cool breeze. You
get a dust bowl with.
you get some potato famine going on in there, and like the whole thing just goes downhill.
And everyone's just unhappy. Yeah.
For
sure.
Yeah.
Well, what's your day going to look like then? Because I got to start wrapping for mine.
Yeah. You got to go because you got school. I have Levi at 8:15. I have Shivam at 9. I have a guy is putting together a LinkedIn course, and he wants some eyes on it. So I told him that I'd take a look at it, and he got really excited. And I was like, maybe you should wait until we look at this because I'm really great at poking holes. And he was like, now I'm really excited. So have that. Might be having a makeup call from Monday. I'm not really sure yet, which makes me fidgety. Mike one-on-one call, Forrest one-on-one call. I might have a makeup call, another one in there at 3:00. And then at 4 today, I have I have a call with a guy that I met in the Noah Kagan Slack. So just networking, blocking. I have no time. I have a little bit of time to block and tackle today, which is nice, but I feel like I need more because I'm playing makeup and catch up.
Yeah. I mean, that's the only thing I'm going to plug into the end of my day is have a little bit of client work that has due dates on it. So I'm not, at the end of the day, going to come in between 4 and 5 and plug that in. But besides that, I will be locked into school. No lunch calls before you ask.
Nice.
No lunch phone calls. I might hop on Clubhouse over lunch just to find a room and get in there.
If you do ping me, I might be able to hop in there as well, depending upon what time that happens.
Awesome. Yep.
Cool. What do you think the average person, the average working adult who's working from home, how many Zoom calls do you think that they do a day or a week?
Gosh. I think it's wildly different depending on what industry you're in and different things like that. Because you and I are near the top, right? Like we're like, 8? That's enough for today. Like, 12, okay, that's a busy day. Like, I've got 2 big Zoom calls today. Well, cool. That's me before 9 a.m. But I mean, fine. That's great. I'm actually a little jealous.
It's not like a point of pride that I've got 7, 8 Zoom calls today. It's just like what is necessary to like move the whole engine forward, right?
I would bet 2 to 4 is kind of in that range is average. In our industry, I bet it's closer to 5 or 6. Just
interesting. Okay, I can see that.
Like that outreachy type of thing. Although it would be really interesting because there are probably a lot more people that took up networking and are doing it via Zoom now. Just because they can't be in person and they can't.
Yeah, I hope so. There's so much, like when you can figure out how to Zoom the right way for your networking and your biz dev kind of stuff, it removes so much of like the issues, right? Because like it used to be that I would go to 4 meetings in a day, right? And it would be one coffee shop. I'd go to another coffee shop. I'd go to another coffee shop. I'd go to another coffee shop. And then I'd come home and I'd get some work done. It's wildly inefficient, right? So then I started just saying all my coffee meetings are one restaurant, just one.
Yeah.
And that made it better. So then what I would do is I would show up at Brood, which is like this little coffee shop restaurant in like the hipster area of our city. And they all knew me and they all knew that I was going to drink coffee all day and that I was going to be in and out of meetings, and I would tip them like pretty fat at the end of the day and they would just let me do my thing.
Yep.
And then Stevie Dawn, who's been a guest on here before a couple months ago, she is the one who actually introduced me to the idea of doing a digital coffee. And I was like, what is this? And she goes, I hate driving. and my husband doesn't want to drive me to like all my coffee meetings, and so we just do it this way. And I was like, this is brilliant. Like I was so excited about like having like a very great reason to have a low pressure conversation via Zoom. And so yeah, but like a lot of people are still like, you want to network via? I'm like, yeah, I'd like to network with you via Zoom. If you're not comfortable, I totally understand. You know.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, I mean, it's become a part of, it's my step one for almost everything.
Yeah.
Now, like step two, a lot of times I will take to in person because that means we had a really good first call.
Mm-hmm.
But not always. Sometimes step two is also Zoom, and then there's something else, you know. So it's such a nice filtering mechanism because I think it's also easier to get off Zoom calls than it is in person.
Yes.
It's harder to stand up, pack up, get going versus like, hey, I got to go to school, John. It's 8 o'clock. So if we can wrap this up, that'd be cool.
Yeah. And they're just like nursing their coffee, like so slow. And then you feel like just like obligated. So you're just like finger tapping. And it's like, I got another meeting kind of thing.
Or then the eyes are like waving at other people they know.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, what are you saying? I'm sorry. Like,
oh, you mean you? Yeah. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah. I love this so much better, but I have one friend, Paul, who was helping us with the podcast, and he just likes to like poke me and be like, "Oh, you still over there being a recluse?" It's like, I'm not really being a recluse. Like, I'll go out if it makes sense to do so. But Josh, who's in our Discord, they're looking to potentially move a CRM, and I was like, he invited me to come be part of the conversation, which I'm excited about. And I was like, cool. Like, when do you want to meet? And he was like, do you want to meet Friday? And I was like, sure. Where are you guys? He's like, Rowlett. And I was like, ooh, are you okay with the Zoom? And he was like, yeah, we're okay with the Zoom. And I was like, perfect.
I used to live there. So I know it is.
Yeah. I was like, man, I would love to not have to drive to Rowlett. Yes. I'd love to not have to drive anywhere, honestly, you know?
Right. Brood is the farthest you want to go is really what you're saying.
Man, after last week of driving all over Tarnation to find like hotel rooms and everything, if I never drive again, I'm totally okay with that.
Dude, you were bringing the Warner Brother Old West stuff today. Tarnation and Up in a Lather and we should title this episode "Welcome to 1820."
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Well, I got to run. Thanks for Ray. Good to see you, man. Levi,
good to see you, Ray.
Thanks for joining us. A couple lurkers in there, I see.
Yes.
Feel free to hop in and just say hi. We'd love to know that you're here.
You lurkers.
Michelle out there. Hi, Michelle.
You lurking because you don't have goals? Do we need to talk about your goals?
James says, let's see. Smart business now. Do that to first decide if it's worth the time to meet in person. Also, I love the ice candy bar latte from Brood.
Dang, I've never even had that before.
And it sounds like a lost tooth in my head.
It feels like I'm just becoming diabetic just reading that comment. That's fantastic.
Yes, absolutely. All right, guys. Well, we will see you guys tomorrow for the longer version.
No,
longer than today.
Okay, I was like, I'm not budgeting an hour for this tomorrow. We need to have